Hello everyone. Okay, so this is the first time ever for me to do a Facebook video, a Facebook live streaming. So I'm not exactly sure how it works, but we are gonna try this together and it's gonna be fun. I hope you can see me and hear me well. I have absolutely zero feedback, so I would appreciate if I can see one view, that's great. Okay, so I'm actually waiting for instruction on exactly when to start. Luckily I have a chat with Harish, who is being super nice and guiding me how to do this, but we will see. So Harshit, when you think it's good, you can tell me and I can start. I don't know how many people you expect to participate. Maybe we can wait 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You guide me here. Hello Mohit. I really hope I pronounce all of your names correctly. Hello everyone, hello Sagar. Hey everyone. Hello everyone, it's very nice to see so many people. So in the meantime, while we wait, this is a very open moment, so I'm here mostly to answer your question and see what curiosity you can have and try to answer this kind of thing. So if anybody has anything in mind they wish to ask or any topic that they wish me to cover, please write them in the comments. They arrive here and so I can watch and talk a little bit about this kind of stuff. Okay, so this is great. I guess we can start. Harshit sent me I can start, so I will do so. So hello everyone. My name is Riccardo. Now I see that a few familiar faces of people that already know me, but I guess not everybody knows me. So I am a free software developer. I started very young. I started when I was still going to middle school, and just out of a passion for technology on one side and for the idea behind open source, which is this general idea that then we see in many different projects that do open things in general. Back in the day there was mostly open software, a little bit of open knowledge with Wikipedia and a little bit of OpenStreetMap, what was starting, but not many other things. Now we are here speaking about open data, open innovation, and many other open things, open knowledge, open learning, open textbooks in this particular case. So open source. So what is the concept and the main idea behind the word open? Behind the word, what is the link that takes a practice or a piece of software or a piece of a human creation and makes it open? And this whole idea is centered on one thing, on the idea, on the belief that if we do something in a shared way, if we don't do something and then keep it on just for ourselves, but if we do things in the open, if you invite other people to cooperate and collaborate with you and try to include their ideas and try not to build something produced by one mind but from many different minds and from many different people, then what you get is something of higher quality. Not just of higher quality in a technical sense, but it is also something that allows for greater freedom. You get something that creates a more just world, and you create something in which everybody can participate. It's just something that you don't keep for yourself. You're not enriching yourself. You're enriching everybody around you. You're enriching the whole community, the whole global world. And this is a very powerful idea for several different reasons. The first one is that it's really the first moment in history when we are allowed to do this kind of things, because this is really only possible in a connected world, in a world where the transfer of information and the creation of goods doesn't cost a lot of money. So I cannot do this, for example, if I produce bottles of water, because there is a cost in the plastic. I cannot just copy it and give it to somebody else. But in the world of ideas, in the world of software, in the world where even knowledge is digitalized, and which doesn't cost very much to store and to write and to keep and to create copies and to create derivative works, then it becomes very easy to spread these ideas and to have them have an impact for everybody else. So this is the first moment in history when we can really experience a global and distributed collaboration. So if I lose myself, please do comment in the comments view, because then I can see you can give him. It's a little strange, to be honest, to be here sitting in a room alone and just speaking to myself. So sometimes I try to read your comments, but if you want to give me feedback, please do so. It's very, very nice. So as I was saying, so this is very interesting because we're in the first moment where the first humans were able to experience the real power of working open and working in a collaborative way. And it seems like it's an approach that is very useful and it's very strong. It can create very, very beautiful stuff. Just think of there was one thing that really struck me. I was in India recently. It was my first time in Asia for the Wiki2Learn India conference, a really great event organized by the Indian team of Wiki2Learn. And it was in Jaipur at LNMIT, and it was very, very interesting to hear, because it was in the middle of a festival where there was also other technologies involved. And one thing I realized is that most students were very attracted about open source, but not everybody really had understood this spirit. What I mean is that everybody was interested in open source because it is a great technological standard. If you go and look at the best technologies that have been produced, if you look at the greatest stuff, most of it, I don't say everything, but 80-90% of this technology is open source, or is released as open source. But few people really start thinking about why this is so. So, and I can tell you, probably because I started early as 2003, 2004, that this has not been always the case. Back in the days, much of the greatest technology was proprietary. And the people who did open source, the people who took their code and released it in the open, were just a few select. It was just a selected minority that was considered almost as a hippie community. They were saying, "Why do you do this? You spend a lot of effort. You create a lot of you put a lot of effort, a lot of thought in what you are doing, and then you're just giving it away for free. That doesn't make sense economically speaking." But then these people were believing, first of all, we have to do this because we want to work in a world where everybody can have access to great technology. But second of all, it's a very, very convenient mechanism to create new things. Because, well, the first thing is that you can build on the work of others. You can learn from their experience, you can use their products and just put it together in a slightly different way, or add this little bit that no one has added, and then you have a great product. And very little of this might be your own work where you spent a lot of effort, but you create a great result that then you have to morally, and sometimes also with the license, you have to share with everybody, just like you have received. And the second is that by working on the open, you expose your work to criticism, and you expose the work to a lot of other ideas. And I've seen many people in GSOC that were that sometimes they start. I've seen it's really presented as a kind of internship, just like many other companies do some internships, but it is a very, very different thing. Actually, many people even add this on their LinkedIn and say, okay, I did this internship at Google, or did an internship at this open project where I was selected. But this is a completely different thing. Google doesn't tell you this is an internship. This is something where you learn a little bit and you learn to work, and then you have like an assignment, and then you have to fulfill it. There are ideas, of course, but by the way, sorry, I interrupt myself just to say, because I don't want to ignore all the comments. I'm seeing the questions. I will get to them right now. Just finishing a little introduction so that people get the chance to get ideas and ask me questions. So later I will just go to answer all these questions. So the idea of a GSOC is, many times I had students where I would put an idea out and I would think it's an assignment. So they write a proposal where I basically rewrite my idea and then they send it to me. And I'm like, okay, I mean, it makes sense because my idea, of course, was thought. It was not just coming out at random. But I was really seeing this lack of motivation, of idea that I'm not doing this because I believe that this is important for everyone, but I'm doing this because this is what I was told to do, and I'm trying to do this the best way I can. And open source is a slightly different thing. It's open source is this Google Summer of Code is just a way that Google gives you, so that for 3 months or for more, if this stipend is high enough, you don't have to do another work, but you can take your full time and just do open source. Just create something which is great for the world and contribute it for it. So, for example, one of the best projects I had was where I had a very, very small idea written down. It was about creator of a package. It was a small application that was needed for Plasma. And then the student really understood that, okay, so this is the general idea, but I need to create this so that this is useful. Because my end goal is not just to finish the GSOC correctly. My end goal is to create a tool which makes the world more free. I want to create a tool that makes this software be more useful for everybody, and then if it's more useful for everybody, if it's more user-friendly, then more people can have a free desktop and use it, and have more freedom in their life, and then pass it around. And I think this is something that is very, very important. One should never try to do a GSOC or do open source just for the career. I mean, the career is of course very important. Everybody has to have one, otherwise you don't leave. But it's something that comes after as a consequence. It's actually really not a good way to get started in open source and to make contacts and to start to do things if you don't believe. I mean, if you don't believe in this idea. I mean, there are plenty of other work and jobs that you can do and internships, even better paid, that don't account for open source if you just want like something quick. But this is important. If you want to do open source, you want to do a GSOC, you have to do it because you are believing in this idea of creating a more free world. Now I'm sorry if this kind of concept was obvious for everybody. I'm just trying to take them out because I've seen it's really often a doubt for newcomers, for people who have never done it. And another thing that I want to make clear for people that have never done open source is how actually this really becomes a part of your life. I've been a KDE developer for more than half of my life, and some of my closest friends actually come from there. One of the feelings that I get, this I must say more in some communities than in other kind of communities, but after 6 months, 1 year that people work, for example, in Wiki2Learn, they come to me and say, oh wow, you know, Wiki2Learn is now my second family. It's like really another family. We had a brilliant GSOC student last year, it was Srijan, who you can see in the comments, who, for example, started out as like, yeah, I will just do an internship and I will try to do some code, get a proposal, and this is my job. And then during the GSOC, he actually understood it, and now he's one of the most active contributors. He's doing great stuff. He's also getting to travel the world as a side consequence, but it's just a side consequence to go around, speak about Wiki2Learn, speak about this idea, how powerful it was for him, and how really he is part of a family now, a big family that is distributed worldwide. And I think this is very, very important. So let me get to questions now. I'll start for the first one. The Banjana, I hope I said it correctly. So, one thing you'd like to ask is, what is like learning and handling software development and graphic design together? How did I manage time? This is a very nice question. So, if I speak too fast, I have a tendency to speak too fast. Just write it down. Tell me, not raise your hand virtually, so I know this. So, learning graphic and handling software development, this was very, very hard. Actually, the thing was this, that we had this big release. So I started out as a translator, actually, because it was I had very little experience. I had just bought a book on C++. I started to read it. I know I wanted to be a hacker. I was 10 years old at the real beginning. So, but I didn't dare to show my good to the public. So what I did is I started to translate and start to get in the word, because I just wanted to contribute back something to this operating system, which was made from everybody. So what I did is I started to study, and I started to send my first patches. I barely even didn't know how to speak English, so it was quite hard also to get understood from a linguistic point of view. Of course, they were all completely wrong at the beginning, but I didn't stop myself. I said, okay, I'll take the comments and iterate and make it better and better and better. And after 1 year, 2 years, I really became an open source developer, where I knew how the community worked, knew how to commit the code, what was better, what was not. I mean, my real first commit broke entirely the compilation of the KDE applications, because I just trusted an automatic thing in an automatic notification that I got from a testing system. I broke everything. So it was off to a great start, but then, I mean, things, of course, got people were angry at the beginning, but then, I mean, it was a under development thing, so then things got better and better. And there was this very big effort. You have to imagine a moment where the smartphones were just not there. So the top of the technology was desktop computer, desktop laptops, but still the regular computer. So by working on the Linux desktop, everybody was expecting that after the servers migrated, all the servers migrated to Linux, people were expecting the year of the desktop. So the moment where the laptops and the free operating system would take over the desktop of everybody. And KDE was at the time the most successful project in this part. It had more than 70% of the market share. So it was a very big. It was very big. It had a lot of coverage from the media. Google invited us to celebrate this release 4.0. The national medias, the generic media. was covering, and just like now they say, oh, there is a new Android version, and everybody gets excited about it. At the time it was, oh, there is a new KDE version, and everybody got excited about it. So you have to imagine that we took a 2-year period to develop KDE 4.0 with very advanced concept at the time, even more advanced than probably what we should have done. So for example, there was a concept of a zoomable UI where you would zoom in and zoom out. We started to do a set of icons. We started to rethink the whole desktop and the whole user experience around the keyboard. And one of the first projects where I started to work after Plasma was Oxygen. And I started to work on there because there was need of a developer who liked graphical stuff. And we had this idea of making the desktop very much like the physical world. A concept was very, very important at the time. Now it's less so. Now we understood there were some wrong parts, but at the time it was very novel and people were trying to mimic the real world. So, for example, you had to do the code for designing, the buttons or the window decoration or these kind of things. And so I started to work as just being at the service of graphic designers who would think of the idea, who would start to tell me the requirements and what you could do. Okay, so it was very, very precise. It was like, okay, take this pixel and move it to one right, and then do a little arc, a 3.2 corner, and all this kind of stuff. And so by working on this, I learned some design. I didn't go there to learn design, but I actually did learn some design principles, because then I would. This is the most important thing for everything in your life. Whenever you do something, be very attentive. Try to learn as much as you can from the people from which you take example. Try to iterate, see what's the reasoning, try to imitate that. So I started to hear a little bit about design, and then I started to say, you know what? I've done a lot of software. I had a lot of time back in the days. I had just started high school, so there was much free time available. Then I started to say, you know what? I want to be a designer also. I want to start to do this. So I started to open Inkscape and I tried to do some graphics. It was absolute crap. I was working with a very, very honest designer who told me, Riccardo, why the hell are you doing this? You're clearly not a designer. But I ignored him and I said, you know what? I will just continue. And I will just tell me what is wrong here, and then I will improve it. And then he would tell me what was wrong, and then I would improve it in my idea. And it was getting even more horrible. So after 9 or 10 times, I would get something a little bit better. The designer would get pissed off and then just do the design instead of me, and then I would say, so this is what you meant. And this happened a lot for about 1 year. It continued like this. I would get better and better, and then after 1 year, 1 year and a half, I decided I would do a mouse thing, because we were lacking somebody who did the mouse thing. So I sat down, I put a lot of effort. It took me 1 month, and I drew the basic shape, the arrow, which is still there. And then with exactly, because I had an idea in mind, I had the inspiration. I just couldn't write it in the Inkscape. And then I started to do this over and iterate. And then I got with the final design, a design I was very, very happy with. And this former designer who until then told me, why you're doing this, said, you know what? Yeah, he's a very pessimist designer, so he would never. I've never heard him saying something like super nice to somebody, but it was say, not bad. And this not bad was very, very powerful. I never or very rarely hear him say something as positive as not bad. So I took it as a real compliment, and I started to do more and more. And just like everything, there's nothing special. You just need to train, and then you get better at stuff. And this mouse thing, I'm very happy, is still there, even many, many years after I did it. It's still a default, and designers and people still love it. If you use KDE Plasma, then you will have it as default. It's called Breeze. It changed it a little bit of colors, but all the basics is there. So how did I manage time? I had time, and then I trained, and then I tried to make more time, and I don't know, I didn't watch TV. I'm very bad at movies. I don't know, I just trying to learn as much as you can. So other things. So okay, sorry, I just saw Manisha, who told me to be a little bit more slow. So I will be slower. Sorry. I hope you could get most of what I said. So I was one of the youngest contributors at age 13. I think I actually answered that question. So one thing that I want to say, yes, people were sometimes saying, oh, you're a prodigy, this kind of stuff. I think it's really bullshit. I mean, you do, after a certain little bit, I mean, to me now it makes an impression when I see people who are 16 who contribute and say, oh my god, you're so good. But then you actually realize it's something different. I mean, there is some knowledge that you get from school, which is very important. But for example, I was doing graphical work and I didn't know the math, and I had. Sorry, I'm too fast. I didn't know the math that was going that I had to do for doing graphical computations. So I was learning it from Wikipedia, and then I was applying that. It was fun, and of course if I had taken a course at university it would be better, but it's really about the experience. It counts way more to go and be in touch with some great people who you admire. Just take somebody, don't take like one role model, but take more. Try to see people that you really like. And try to emulate them. Try to work in close contact with them. You will waste a lot of time at the beginning, but who cares? You will learn so much more in the end. Try to just stay with them, stick to them, see how they reason, see what they're thinking, how do they reply to certain situation, and then just try to imitate them. Try to say when you are about to do something, just try to think, so what this other person would do. How would this other person react? And this is one of the best ways to use your brains, because we are programmed to emulate, to imitate. We have the mirror neurons. We have. It's really a great way to learn. Kids at the beginning, when they are very young, how do they learn? They look at their parents. And then they try to do the same thing. They try to fake a writing, or they try to be, whatever they see that happens in the family. So we are very programmed to do this, and it is one of the best way that you can learn, and that's probably the most important thing you can do. So even if people were looking at me as sometimes as a prodigy, or sometimes they were asking me, oh, how you can do this. The answer is very, very simple. Everybody can do this. Just make some experience. Don't be afraid to put your hands in the dirt. Don't be afraid to be really, really wrong. My patches were so wrong at the beginning. Of course, don't try to do this and just dump work on other people. You have to do some homework. So when you're working in open source, especially where everybody is a volunteer, then their time is limited. They might want to help you. They might want to be friendly. But you have to show them that you are really trying as hard as you can. And that's actually one of the best way you can try. I mean, I've had people who were coming at me and just saying, hey, I have this error on my computer when I try to run your software. And if it's a very silly error, or if it's like something that I can Google, I mean, I'm not Google. If it's something that I can figure out by Googling, then I'm really not happy to work with this person, because it's just taking away my time for no reason. So whenever you have these kind of problems, do a lot of Googling. And with a lot, I mean spend 5 hours trying to fix your problems before asking for help. Because this way, first you're showing that you're really putting an effort, and then especially you will learn a lot. Because maybe you won't learn directly, because you won't fix your mistake immediately, but then you will learn about things that will make solving the mistake easier, or it will make it easier next time. So the thing is this, as I said, why you want to do this. You want to do this because you believe in something. And then you know that whenever you contribute, you're contributing. So it's like building something huge, like a pyramid or a big tower. And this is the whole open source project, and what you're doing is you're taking some of your time and you're putting something together. You're adding your block. You're adding a little bit of knowledge. You're adding a little bit of work, so that nobody else has to do it, and the whole thing goes on, and you put your little stone inside. So you create value for everybody, for the community, by adding your work. And everybody does. Many different projects do, and even competing projects do add value to each other. But this is very, very important when you want to contribute. By the way, I really hope you are answering all the questions. Please, if you have doubts or if you want follow-ups, please just write. To answer, so I hope I'm getting all these things right. I'm rambling and trying to make something that is valuable for you also today. So what inspired me to work for Wiki2Learn? Well, simply the need for having such a tool in my studies, and seeing that nothing like this was really happening, and we started to I started to take notes in a collaborative way with my classmates. I saw how much value there was in there. I saw how much ignorance there was about open practices. So everybody was taking the notes, maybe on the computer, and then just leaving it there, or not sharing it, or sharing it as a PDF, and then it would lose the sources and everything. So I said, well, we have to find a solution. Let's not duplicate the efforts. We have one goal. We can do together. We can build a great amount of content which is free and for the world. I live in Italy, in Europe, in a rather rich country, so it's easy for me to afford, I don't know, a textbook, but many other people don't have this, and we don't have a lot of very good free content. So I said, you know what, I can fix this, I can help fixing this. I want to live in a world where educational content is free for everybody. So let's try to do this. I knew some technology. I see the people around me who were students. What is the job of a student? Is to take notes, to learn. And how you do this? You create content. You rewrite your notes. You write it on a sheet of paper, and then I say, don't write it on a sheet of paper. Write it in a place where it can be useful for everyone. And then if we take many students who invest a little bit of their time, and then we take many professors and many researchers, and everybody invests a little bit of their time, we can have together a great library made of content which is free for everybody to use. We can create the best knowledge known to humankind, the biggest, the greatest library for humankind, all of content that is created together, where this idea of collaboration really goes into practice, an idea that is used in science. But if it's used in science, it's used in how we advance, then why don't we use it on the things we learn from? Because if we have better ways from which to learn, then we can have more people that learn, or more people that learn better, and this is of great value for everyone. And I'm just trying to build a canvas so that this happens, so that everybody is free to express themselves and try to learn from each other and create the greatest library known to humankind. I mean, this is the long-term vision, of course, but this is the main motivation and the main inspiration for me to work on Wiki2Learn. Manish, I'm sorry you did not succeed to contribute in open source. If you tell me a little bit more, I can answer you more precisely. I think most of the times if you can contribute, it means either you got a really bad project, this sometimes happens, it's rare but it sometimes happens, or you didn't Google enough, or I don't know. I mean, you cannot it's very hard to not succeed to contribute to a project. Just see what is there and try to be of help, try to produce some code. You have to do it in a nice way, like you take on a job and you have to be a responsible person. So if you take on a task, then you have to close it, or try to fix some code, or communicate that you will not do it in certain time. So, but it's very hard in this sense. So Aditya says, how are you able to manage the open source project? Many people may come in, write some junk code. So, well, what you have maintainers, you have people that are taking care of the quality of the code. So the first time you are writing some code for an open project, you don't write it and send it directly. What you do is you send a patch or a pull request on GitHub. I don't like the word pull request because it's very, very GitHub, and there are many more free software projects which don't use GitHub. So you just send in a patch. If a patch is junk, then people can just say, no, sorry, this doesn't work. They might tell you why, if it's really if it's a small thing, or they can just say, no, I will not be able to merge this. It's easy to understand if it's a patch. I mean, so in this case, it doesn't get merged. There is a responsibility on this from the maintainer. And then when you start to write good code and you become a trusted person, then you will get the possibility of adding some code. You have to be a responsible person. You have to be a good citizen. You have to produce the best code that you think is worth. Be a hacker. Be a very, very try to be as good and try to produce the work. I think there is one word which is very important here. It's called elegance. You have to be as elegant as possible in everything you do, especially in open source. You won't succeed the first times, but you have to try to be elegant. If you try to be elegant, you will be able to do something. You will succeed in getting there eventually. But it's a process. It's a learning process. If you try to be as elegant as you can, you won't produce absolute shit. So it will work. So Kush says, if you should submit one or more, it depends on you. I would submit one very good. The thing is where you would like to work. And honestly, you don't need GSOC to work on an open source organization. My advice is even get to know the organization beforehand. It's not an internship. If you want an internship, go and apply for an internship. Don't go for an open project. It will waste your time, it will waste the project's time, and it will burn down mentors and open source contributors. So you want to make an impact. You have to start from this. You want to make a positive impact in the world. This is a way to achieve it. But you can do it also without GSOC. You do it first. You start to understand what it means to work in a community. You use the community. You help the community. Open source is a process of giving to others, in the idea that you have received something and you want to give back. So this is open source. So you're contributing to help everybody. Pick up a moment of or a thing on which you want to work, which inspires you, or where you think that you simply think that they need help. They are doing a great job. They have a great vision, and you want to help them achieve this vision. You want to help this project to achieve their vision. They need your help. Go and give your help. This is the whole thing. So in this case, I mean, you can have more projects that you believe need your help, or where you can be useful. Try to pick this. I would say one is really enough, even one proposal. Try to work with the developer beforehand, so you know them and you know what might be needed and what could be more of help. I hope I'm answering your questions. So Manish asks me a very, very nice question. Participation of girls in STEM sectors. This is a very, very important question. I must say it's less, but it's more and more. It's growing more and more. It's a question that is very, very important, because I believe that a balanced world where there are more girls is a very important one. The best projects do have more girls. In Wikituron, I'm very happy that there are many different girls participating, and I've seen how this improved over projects where there is just one culture or one person or sorry, one kind of person, not just one person. It's a rather boring open project, but in general, it's also very complicated to answer. There is not just one action you have to do. You have to mention, there are many guidelines, many projects who are releasing guidelines. I'm not a girl. I'm one of the privileged class. Fortunately or unfortunately, let's say I'm white. I'm male, and I live in Europe. So this puts me in a very privileged position, and I understand this, and I understand that sometimes I'm not the best person to speak of this because I might take for granted things that are really not. I see that the more I grow older, the more I'm trying to pay attention to this, and I'm starting to recognize some bad behaviors that sometimes happens, which I can tell you they are completely not wanted, but sometimes there is the lack of culture for accepting people from a minority group. We are changing this. I see there are very good projects such as Outreachy or many different projects that take care of diversity, but I would say the more we make girls and other people relevant and visible in the community, the better it is. Me personally, I'm trying to make a few small contributions. First, in the way we handle, in the way I decided to start with the Wikitron community, with the parity, and by how we started to treat. Because this first always starts as an example. If you are in a group if you're in a group that where people are treated in a certain way at the beginning, then people that come in, they will continue on this example. So it's very, very important to set things straight right from the real beginning. And then, for example, I'm hosting an event in 2 weeks in my university where I will have not just female speakers, because I had a couple of guys, but almost just female speakers. And there is the president of LibreOffice community, there is people from Mozilla, from Fedora, from OpenStreetMap, and I want to show to people also here that these kind of sectors are really not just for guys. And I think the best way to fix this is to try to be more visible, to show, to go, to talk to events, to show that this is worth. It's something that will take time to change, but it's something which is of extreme value. So we need our effort there. It needs everybody's effort. It needs education, and there is just so much to gain. The me of a few years ago would never said these words, but I also learned a lot of things that I would just take for granted, and I think it's very, very, very important. Then it depends on the project. There are projects which are friendlier, projects which are less friendly, but it's like everything. If you want more suggestions, I would say we can keep this conversation for a later time, not for the live, because I think it's a very, very important thing. Unfortunately, I recognize I'm not the most qualified person to speak about this because of my background. So yeah, but it's a very crucial part. To reassure Kush, I was not. I know it's not about only you, but it's about everybody. It's a general suggestion. I don't know you personally, so I'm just answering your questions in this sense. Open sourcing would take over intellectually proper rights in the future. I think, and I really hope so, but for one very, very simple reason, Demanjan. I really hope I say it correctly. The question is, do you think open sourcing would take over intellectually proper rights in the future? The thing is, open source has proven to be the best way you can develop something. It probably won't take over everything, but it will take over most of the things. Because it's just so much better. It's just so much more efficient. When you create a project, a tool, a knowledge, first of all, there is the idea that you're creating something and it's better if you contribute to a full thing for the world, because then everybody can benefit and everybody can advance better. It was very hard to explain this 20 years ago, where there was almost no company who was doing open source. Right now, the companies that are releasing this, this open source and just relying on other kinds of revenue are the most profitable ones. So it is a model that is winning, and where I see more and more people participating. But of course we have to be always very careful. The open movement has improved because there was a lot of people who was fighting for this, for an ideological reason, not for an economical reason. The economical reason followed, but so I think it's on this game of both people who are really believing that this is important, and people who see that this is actually economically better and makes for a better and more advanced world and for fastest growing projects and for a lot of other reasons of this kind, then we will eventually succeed. We are succeeding in almost every sector where there was applied openness. So it will happen that my personal belief is that we're going to see more and more openness in the world. Tanya. Yes, I'm having a very good time. As I say, it's a little strange. I mean, I'm here in my room speaking alone to my computer, but yeah, it's very nice to see and read your comments. So, what do you think the scope of business intelligence is in the near future? What do you think? That's a very complicated question. The thing is, nobody knows what are going to be the job in 5 years, and this is getting worse and worse. It used to be 15 years when I started university. I mean, luckily or not, but I think luckily the humans are progressing at a very unexpected rate. So this is a very economical kind of question. What are we going to expect of our future? What are we going to expect to have, to build, to produce? What are the kinds of jobs that are going to be needed? For sure, there are many jobs which are going to be automated, and some others which won't. It's very, very hard to predict which are going to be more or less useful. My suggestion is try to do something very, very well and try to be open to change, open to always learn something new, and then you will, for sure, you will be as good as you can be. So whether we're going towards a revolution where 50% of the population will be unemployed, or we're going to have to change radically the economical structure of our world, I mean, if something like this radical happens, where 50% of the world which is unemployed, then the changes we are going to go through are so radical that no kind of suggestion can be really given right now, and I'm not even sure anybody has an answer for that. But in any other case, you would be better set if you do these kind of things. Always be open to learning new things and try to do something the best way you can in this sense. As a GSOC project mentor, what do you look for in a proposal? I look for many different things. The first one is, does the student understand the concept of open source? Or are they just thinking this is an internship? Did they elaborate on my idea? Did they think my idea, did you just copy my idea and reword it and put a little bit of graphics in it? Or did you actually put some real thought in it? How reasonable it is? Sometimes the skill, it depends. It also depends what kind of project it is and how much time do I have. Also, if they realize that you're not being paid to do open source, but I am maybe just a university student, or I have a day job and I can do open source in my free time. Maybe many mentors do have a family, so they have their kids to look after, they have their work, they already are making a lot of sacrifices to spend a little bit of time to do open source. And sometimes you get just the students who ask you a lot of questions and who really think you're their boss. This doesn't work like this. When you work in open source, you have many people at the same level. Everybody is at the same level. So I can teach you something. You might also teach me something back. But this is the first thing. The student is being paid to do the work. They can work and they should work on it full time. The mentor maybe has 5 hours a week. So it's very, very sometimes strange this, but the student really has to realize it. Then of course many different things. These are the best elements I could say. The thing is also, is it likely that the student will remain? It's a very big investment in terms of time for the mentor to pick up a student. So if I have to choose you as a student, you have to first provide value to the project I'm following, and second, I am making an investment on the project and on the community. So I'm more inclined to take somebody who I know will work or has worked and has proven that this is not just for 3 months and then they will disappear, because then I prefer not to waste my time and do the work myself. And of course it all depends on a lot of different things, but these are the first things I would definitely say. I really want. Harshit asks if I'm coming back to India. I really want to come back. Actually, there is a very nice, community which is growing in India for Wiki2Learn and for KDE. So I would be very, very happy. And there is actually one of the new additions that we have in our community, a certain Vashuda, who is working on a project I'm more closely following, and she is from the New Delhi Technical Institute. I think don't get me wrong, but Sijan, you know where she is studying. Please write it in the comments if you're following. And she was thinking of organizing an event there. I also have another invitation from the Amrita University. So I have a 6 months visa, and otherwise I have to renew my passport. So the visa expires on the 22nd of June. So I really want to come back before that. It was really, really great. It's a wonderful country, wonderful people. I felt a lot of energy, and I do want to come back. White male in Europe, Hollywood film, yeah. Or actually, if you want to make it Hollywood, could be American. So again, I'm drinking a little bit because speaking for 1 hour. What are my future plans on Wiki2Learn? So my vision for Wiki2Learn is I want to make it the best library known to humankind. I want to make the best learning material from the best universities be there for free for everybody. And I mean, there is some work in this direction of open education done, for example, from OpenCourseWare and all the videos, but I believe it is a very different thing, because a video might be great for following a class, but if you really want to learn something, a video is not sufficient. It's like if you went to a class and just listen to the professor, maybe take a couple of notes, and then you're ready to give an exam. You're not ready to do an exam. You have to reread your notes, you have to read a book on a subject, you have to study on the subject. And I think we are completely missing this. We have Wikipedia, which is a great source for facts. We have videos from universities, we have professors, but we do lack a great amount of content where you can go and you can study, even without the video. Even for people where access to internet is rare or is problematic, if you take a book, then you can just take it offline. So I am seeing, when I started Wiki to Learn, it was me, and then I got convinced from another guy who just followed after me, and then after 1 month we were 5. I had no idea where we were going. I told them I don't want this to be just a small university project. I want to see myself the size of Wikimedia Foundation, because this is the only way we can make a reasonable impact. And I'm investing my energies because I want to make an impact in the world. I don't just want to create a small project to become visible or become rich or whatever. Actually, if I had to become rich, I would have chosen absolutely the wrong approach. But in general, so I've seen the community grow a lot. We added a lot of people that just heard us and then decided to join our battle for creating this. And it is really, really motivating, because then you get people from all over the world who believe what you believe. You believe that the education should be free, should be a basic right for everybody, and that put in a little bit of work so that this is helped, and this target, which seems so far away, is actually closer. And even great universities, we got the CERN. I got lost. Wait, I will connect the cables. So, are you guys hearing me well, or is sometimes the connection dropping? Sorry, I hope you didn't lose anything. So, I will ask for Harshit. Is everything alright? Is my connection jumping? Okay, thanks. If you hear or if you lose something, really please don't be afraid to just write it in the comments, and I will repeat the sentences, because I believe it's very, we are all investing a lot of time into this webinar. I wanted to make it the best value possible, so that's great. So I'm seeing some of the best university who also decided to join this battle, and this is really refreshing for me. I'm seeing a community which is growing, and it's growing strong and really healthy. We got a good number of girls, we got a good number of people from all over the world, and we give them the canvas and the freedom to be able to build great content. We got technologies, we have people who do promotion, and it's really encouraging. We got, from the contribution of the first person who joined me on the wiki, who is still there and is still one of the hardest core contributions. We got people who arrived, maybe did a little bit of work, but it's very important also this, and then disappeared. They're still very nice contributors. We got students like that started on the technical side, and then they decided they were doing promotional, they would help creating a community, they would write their notes, they would convince their students to write these notes. I'm very happy of this, and I'm very happy about the welcome nature of the whole community that we managed to build. I've been in many different communities, and in KDE it's always been recognized as one of the friendliest. And I must say that maybe there are people here who saw the Wikitron conference and that have been to other conferences and have been to other sprints. Harish, who just wrote here, he joined us for a sprint at CERN. I don't want to say it, but Harish, how was the feeling? I don't know if he's still connected. He just said he was late, but everybody told me that we had this conference. They told me it was one of the best they have ever attended, because there is this feeling of fighting together and also have a lot of fun. Because open source, the first thing, the most important thing is it needs to be fun. I am friends with many different people who have been working on Wiki2Learn and where we spent a lot of nights. We went traveling, and then it starts to go beyond the work. The work is very important. You're all doing a battle together as allies, so you're really strongly fighting in your free time to make this a success. But also you get a lot of time to learn and to experience and to travel the world and to see and to meet and work daily with strangers we would never have met otherwise. So this is all very, very, very refreshing. We are actually going to build a plan to create more local communities around the world, because I believe this is one of the most important things. Once you have a local community of people who share this vision, who want to work and experience open source, not just behind a computer, but also in real life, it gets way more rewarding. And Mozilla is helping us a lot to do this, and so is Wikimedia. So we want to build, like, to explain also to students, to quote another group, which is a very non-participating group in open sources, non-computer scientists. Luckily, we have one of the projects where we can involve students who study economics or business or law or many other disciplines, which are not directly computer science, and we can teach them open source and why it's important to do that. And they bring a lot to the project, and not just to the project, to the world, because this is important. We don't just want to put a flag and be the greatest project and then make a lot of money or whatever. We're just building this for everybody, so that everybody can benefit from our job, and what they can add is of immense and of great value. Something which is not always seen in all the projects. So this is one way we are going to plan to add it. We're going to start some fundraising also to be able to organize more developer sprints. There is now KDE, which has helped us a lot to pay for them. We had other individual donations in this sense. We're starting with projects where everybody can get involved to add more local contributors. But in general, I would say everybody is super welcome to join. They got on chat.wiki2learn.org. You can go on the Telegram channels and then just or create an account and start to write some material, and then get in touch with the community. This is the fastest way we want to make it grow, to make presentation all around the world, go to university. I was just yesterday in Bologna, a city home of the Bolognese, as you can imagine. So we're speaking of open education, where we are going to the best universities to ask them to release their contents under free licenses, and they're doing this. So yeah, all of these actions. If you guys have other ideas or other things we can do, suggest them, or even better, take a little thing which you want to do and do it yourself. Organize an event, organize a meetup, speak to some friends about this, speak about why it is important that we share our knowledge with everybody. Tell them why it is so important, inspire them, and then get together and try to build an elegant book. Still elegance, a great quality book. The best you can do. It doesn't need to be perfect, but try to make it good, because it's important for the world. So Sagar, Tandon, you want to work in impact investment of education space, or living at the bottom of the pyramid. You're an engineer. You can work. How you can use open source. If you're a computer science engineer, use it. I mean, either you figure out a way how to use it, or you have projects which work in education space for free, and join them and just give them your energy. This is really as simple as that. I think I went through a lot of ways you can do this in this kind of sense. I don't know if I'm answering your question. If you want to have more detail, please write it in the comments and I will do so. And Harish is writing how I can pronounce Lightlow. It was the first expression he taught me in Hindi. I was going to everybody say, hey, Lightlow. I could even order tea, but I forgot how to do that. I'm sorry. I can't order tea anymore. But I can cook. I got back to Italy with a lot of spices, and I'm now able to cook some tandoori chicken. Now I love Indian spices, guys. I'm so envious. We got really bad spices here. So Rusha is asking, will you have students to review their proposals? I can give a few pointers. I don't have. I can't promise everything because I am trying to get a degree and I'm handling a lot of stuff. So please don't send me like 20 proposals. But if you send me a few questions, I should be able to answer it. Manisha, video content in MOOCs in Wikituron. This is very important. So I mean, it's a very nice question. I get asked this a few times in very specific environments. So there is one big problem with videos. I love videos. I myself have studied on videos, like on MOOCs, but there are two main problems with this. The first one is if we start to add videos, it will be another Coursera, and we don't need it. Seriously, we have other projects where everybody can upload a video. But the most important thing is that a video can be released with an open license. But if you think about it, it's not collaborative. On a text, I can do like Wikipedia. I can take your text and improve it, and then somebody can review it, and then improve it some more, and then add it, and then create a book. And then maybe taking some chapter from one book and another from another one, and putting it together and have another book. But I cannot do that with a video. I can, if you have a mistake in your video, I cannot just like clip it and then like you're speaking and then I come on this and then it doesn't work. So we decided not to concentrate on videos, not because we don't think they are important. We can link to great videos, but we want everything to be collaborative, because we believe that in the collaboration lies one of the most important things that the humans have ever done. If humans get together and we put all of our minds together, then we can create something great. And also, we want to help everybody, but this is a minor, another little thing. If I give you a book, then you can take this book and bring it everywhere. You can print it locally. I don't have to send it to you. If you have a video, you need to have a device on which to read the video. Not everybody has a device on which to watch a video at all times. So it's also for an accessibility reason that we want to create text. And also, there are people with disabilities who maybe can watch a video, but cannot, don't have books on which to study. For mathematics, for example, if you study maths and you're blind, you don't have a real material on which to study. Saga, this is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm totally happy to discuss this. What we want to build with Wikituron is also a network, so we don't want to redo custom installations of Wikituron, but we totally want to encourage everybody to just use it. Unlike Wikipedia, where you have just one version for every subject, we want to let the users free to explore a subject from many different points of views at many different levels. So what we have, if we have, for example, maths or some subjects, everybody can just go and create a course in a public space, maybe so you can have, I don't know, quantum mechanics, and you can have several different quantum mechanics explanations Or you can have personal courses which are under your user page. It's like having them on your private GitHub. So you get all the benefits of Wiki2Learn. You get a PDF automatically generated. You get a storage which is very secure and is distributed all over the world. And you get the possibility of collaborating and of publishing your work whenever you feel it's ready. But you don't have to do it on a local computer. So at this point, integrating new schools, even in an experimental way, it's very, very easy. They just make an account and then they start editing on the website. Easy. When they have something that they feel it's value to share with the world, they just press publish and they will be published. So any kind of subject and of content is very welcome, as long as it has some kind of didactics. So if you have some material, also it is possible to import it, especially if it's written in LaTeX. In Italy, we are doing some projects with some school where we ask the students to write on them. Everybody, this is a community project. Everybody who wants to join the community and wants to make it his own, they can do that. It is controlled and governed by the community. So just be a part of it and make it yours. I hope I'm answered the question enough. I think it's very good, Tanya. I think it's very, very good, and I really believe in grassroots movement like this. Educating, sharing knowledge. I mean, the motto of Wiki2Learn is, knowledge only grows if shared. Anything in this direction is great for me. Rushal, it's a very tough question. So the thing is that the user, I will answer very shortly, then we can have a long version of it. The idea is this. So you have two steps. The first one is the user gets, of course, responsibility for what they write, because there is their name. So if you write stupid stuff, then we can say you're not exactly welcome to write stupid stuff. And then we have a review mechanism in place, in the sense that once you have we have set up for some courses, just not in a very systematic way, so it's handled manually, case by case, professors or other people with a reputation which review texts. So once it's published, it can be in the draft mode when nobody has reviewed it, or it can be reviewed. And at that point, you have one version, which is the reviewed stable version, which won't change, and then you have a version which is modifiable and always up to date and live. And so everybody can choose this. So this is the way we ensure that the content is good. Then of course it's a community project, so everybody should take responsibility of making sure that the content is as good as they can, just like Wikipedia. In the end, after a few iterations, this eventually works out because people correct everybody's mistakes. Light low session. Yeah, exactly. It was quite tiring day, I must say. So guys, I don't know if you have any kind of session more. Of session, say buonanotte. Of questions. I will just answer the question from Anisha. Maybe guys, if you want to add more questions now, this is the moment, because I answered the question from Anisha, and then if there are no more questions, I will finish the live stream. There are lots of communities and programs running all over the world, but there is still a huge gap in the society. Do you think all these can come together to form large organization? Yes, sometimes large organizations work, sometimes they don't. I believe that the concept of diversity is also important. Just like we don't have one type of apple, but we have 1,300 types of apple, makes us more resistant the moment there is an illness for this apple plant, or just like we don't want fully industrialized food or everything that looks the same, diversity is also very important, and so is in everything human and not human, natural in general. So the thing is, the more we unite, the better it is, for sure. But it's a very complex matter. It's also very complex in the sense that nobody has the cure, the direct cure for society, and I think it's always a matter of equilibrium. So there are opposite forces that struggle, and that we are working towards openness. I also believe that more and more people will get this, and they will be educated, and of course there will be always efforts to make to do this, and always be attentive, always fight in this sense, just like we fight for our freedom, and then we have concepts that such as, I don't know, we invented vaccines, and then now there is somebody who doesn't want to vaccine anymore for some reason, and instead it has saved many lives, and this is something we achieved, that we might not, that we always have to fight a little bit for, because we always have to explain to people why it is important that we do so. But it's a continuous process where we manage to get some result and to educate people that this is important, or most of the people that this is important. Most people know how to read and write, and it wasn't the case 100 years ago. It's still very important that we support these projects and these ideas, but some of them are really getting in the fabric of society and are almost taken for granted. I'm not maybe reading and writing for everybody, but in some parts of the world it is, and in general it is much more widespread than it was 100 years ago. So there is a gap in society. Maybe there will always be. I believe it won't be always the same. I will think we will, because it just makes sense that everybody feels better. But for economical reasons, I won't dive into them now. I don't know why this becomes Rufy's vision of the universe. And I'm not nearly as arrogant to try to give you my view on everything. It doesn't make sense. I'm not qualified at all to do that. I can give you maybe a personal opinion just for a few things. But I think it's getting reduced more and more, and with things such as open source even more so. I mean, sometimes democracy and these other more political things are way more hard to also defend, but because they are very complicated and have laws, and it is a very complicated issue. Open source is simpler and it's more efficient and it just works. So And with open source we can do a lot, because luckily the world is going towards technology, and who is doing technology? We are doing technology. So with everybody on the internet, it becomes just so much easier to have a positive impact in the world. Let's not waste this opportunity, because if we waste this opportunity and we let, for example, the editorial houses who print books and sell them for profits, who are doing so many awful things in the university and with research, if we let them take this space where they create something which is similar enough, like for example to Wiki2Learn. I'm just speaking of my own project here, but this applies to many different things. If we let them take this space and we don't take it before and we don't show to people why it's important to do so, then it becomes harder and harder. In the years 2000, there was Encarta encyclopedia from Microsoft. They put a lot of money in that. So, and the thing is that they, both Encarta and Wikipedia more or less grew together. Now, Encarta was started a little bit before, and of course it made sense at the time. Right now, nobody in their mind would start an encyclopedia. Why? Because Wikipedia occupied that space and showed that it is important to do so. Sometimes it's the opposite, but in that time open source wins, but it's not always easy. Like on the servers, open source wins easily. On the desktops, we have MacBooks, we have Windows, we have a lot of places where open source was late to fill that void, and while it's still competitive, it has to struggle a lot. It has struggled 20 years to do so. It is important that once this kind of sectors open up, we take the most open approach that we can before anybody else can. With this, you can partner to all kinds of organizations. I think many people believe it. Just like we are partnering, for example, with Mozilla, who is helping us a lot, or Wikimedia, or educational resources too. It's very important. Sometimes most of the times uniting is the best answer. Diversity is also a good answer, but yes, the important is really that the work happens in the open. At that point, if the work happens really in the open and not like Android, because Android, yes, it's released a part of it as open source, but is not made from a community, and you can clearly see it. Nobody can just take and build upon it. Instead, with Wikipedia, anybody can go and make their opinion, and then the community really counts. So that's really an open project, and can work like that. So if it's community built, it doesn't matter who really does it, as long as they do it. Because and everybody, but this is what happens usually. Like everybody usually steps in and tries to help this project, which is trying to fix this solution, to fix this problem. And usually it's one, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Because if I have another idea, I mean, it is completely different and it's another project, but if I have a good idea on this sense, it doesn't make sense for me to restart the whole community. I just go there, state my ideas. If they are bad, then they would be bad anyway, so it doesn't make sense. But if they are good, they will work in the community, and my ideas will have way more legs, and we will be able to apply them a lot more. And also for them, these new ideas, new contributors, I mean, uniting forces is very important. I'm sorry, this was a very large and complicated question, so I hope I answered it right and enough for you. Did I answer your question, Manisha? Super cool. So Wiki2Learn, of course, is also accept GSOC's proposals, but as I said, this is Okay, oh, Harshit is writing. Sorry, I just saw the comment of Manisha, but not one of Harshit. A very wonderful Amarufi. I hope it was a little exhausting, but I really have a lot of fun, and I'm really, really happy to share and to speak. So I'm very happy. Thank you actually for hosting me. It was really fun. It was my first webinar here. It's on Facebook, and it's really, really fun. Yeah, of course. On Wikitron we accept GSOC proposals, but even then, even if you either don't get accepted or if you cannot come up with a good idea, don't worry. We are very welcomed. You can become a core developer without doing a GSOC. You need to work with us a few months and show the dedication. If you don't think you will have time, if you think you can do a little bit, if you just want to start and see how it is and then maybe try to do a proposal next year, or maybe we will get other kind of funding to sponsor you, or you want to just have fun, or the most important thing is if you believe that what we are doing is important and want to help to make an impact, and you want to help us go to that vision of everybody being able to have good education and good books and good learning material, then help us. There are many thousands of different jobs you can take. Bring your ideas. Like, this project will only work if everybody, but this project and most projects in general will only work if many people come and give their ideas, and then of course don't just give them ideas, but also try to put them to action in the way they believe it's best for the project, for the vision, and for themselves. Yeah, I finished one bottle the bottle of water I was saying. Yes, lots of glasses. So I'm very, very happy. So now it's 1 hour 30. I guess we are actually out of time. I don't even know what time it is anymore. It's 6. So it was really, really fun. Thank you very much for having me here, and I hope this was informative. If you want, you can comment here for a few more questions. I don't promise I will answer them tonight, because I think I will go tweet something and then I'm a little bit tired. But it was really, really great. And yeah, you know where to find me, where to find Wiki to learn. I will just add here. If you want to find Wiki to learn, but I'm equally happy if you join any kind of open project, because I think what we need most in this moment is that people work in the open, no matter what they do. It's a culture that needs to be taken and achieved, and I see a lot of people who are now doing open source, but not always in the right way. And it's very, 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 very important that this is the moment when we step in and say, open source is important, because it's at this point because it has brought on all these values. Let's not forget them. Let's continue to fight and pay attention so that these values are always kept on and continue to have a meaning. So we'll finish it here, and yeah. From Milano, I wish you a good night, and yeah, a good night. I hope you had dinner already in India. See you soon.